You're wondering, will the housing market finally crash this year? Really, how much higher can these prices get? Nationally, the median list price is up by about 27% since March of 2020, and in Florida it's up by approximately 40%. So we experienced astronomical price increases in just a short period of time. But here are the recent national headlines, which may be indicating that we're at a pivotal moment. Signs of a brewing housing market. More sellers are cutting home prices. Home sales slipped by 2.7% in March. But are we really heading towards a bust here in Florida? In this video, we're going to review overall Florida real estate trends to understand what has happened over the last 2 years, and then we will discuss the outlook. We're going to explore a few data points which will help us understand the current situation we're in, and then I'll provide you with my forecast thereafter. I pulled data from Realtor.com, which is publicly available data, and pivoted in Excel in order to get to the latest real estate trends as of March 2022. So I'm going to reference the median list price and not the average list price because I actually believe it's a better indication of what you're going to expect to pay on average. So the median price is the price in the middle of the data set, where the average price can be heavily skewed by few unusually high real estate prices. So here's what we get. The US median real estate list price as of March is $404,000. The Florida median price is $411,000. But these prices will differ depending on the location in Florida, right? So some areas that are more desirable will be more expensive, while some other areas in Florida are going to be much more affordable. Let's look at the top 5 most expensive counties and the top 5 least expensive counties. And so if you're somebody that's just starting to shop here in Florida, this list might actually be a good starting point for you. We're going to plot these on a map, and you will see a pattern here. You're going to notice that the most expensive locations are coastal and primarily in the south and southwest. The most expensive place being the Keys. You've got Miami, Naples, and Sarasota County areas. Now, maybe surprisingly to some, Walton County, which is on the Emerald Coast on the northwestern part of Florida, actually took the number 2 spot as the most expensive county to live in. But remember, typically as you get further inland, even in the more expensive coastal counties, you're going to find more affordable options because most people are going to want to live closer to the water. And that increases the demand, which increases the price. Now, how has the population changed in Florida? Many publications are saying that Florida was the #1 place people moved to since the pandemic. I can certainly feel the real estate craze here in Sarasota. I tapped into public available data from the Office of Economic and Demographic Research to understand the Florida population growth year over year. The last shared data points were from April 2020 to April 2021. Updated data will become available sometime later on this year, in October of this year apparently. So we're just going to make some assumptions in order to fill that gap. From April 2020 to April 2021, the population in Florida increased by roughly 360,000 people, which is a 1.67% population increase. Now, I've seen some comments on this channel that talked about a 10 to 30% population increase in Florida. No, guys, it grew by less than 2% year over year during the stated time period. But I do agree with you that in some parts of Florida, the increase can feel so much larger when you look at the change in traffic and just overall activity. I would estimate an even higher growth pattern during April 2021 to April 2022, so this year, due to the fact that in 2020, there were so many COVID restrictions, right? And so a lot of people were hampered by lockdowns and didn't make the move in 2020. And so I wouldn't be surprised if the population growth is north of 500,000 from April 2021 to April of this year. But where in Florida did the majority of the people move to? Let's look at this chart that I created from the data points. I listed the top 20 counties that experienced the largest number of increases. Not surprisingly, the 3 largest metropolitan areas in Florida experienced the largest population increases, with the Tampa Bay area leading, following the Miami area, and next up is Orlando. And I'm sure a lot of this has to do with job opportunities. So where are people moving from? According to the last available US Census migration data from 2019, here are the top places people have moved from. I'm sure that these data points will differ a bit since the onset of the pandemic, but directionally speaking, it should be a very similar flow. Not surprisingly, the #1 place people move from is New York due to many reasons, including more affordable lifestyle and lower taxes. According to a survey that Move.org conducted with approximately 1,000 respondents, the main reasons people have moved during the pandemic is for family, career, lifestyle, and economic factors, with the secondary reason being better weather, lower taxes, climate change, political reasons, better culture, and lower cost of living. Well, that brings us to the Florida real estate market projection. This is what you need to understand. Cash purchases account for approximately 30% to close to 50% of all real estate transactions in Florida, depending on the location. So if there is a slowdown nationally, I just don't see it in Florida anytime soon. Florida is becoming a destination place, not just for vacationers, but those who are actually moving out of state. Now, of course, not all places are equal in Florida. Trends need to be looked at on a local level. So let's review real estate trends for Sarasota to provide you with an example of how things are just not slowing down in this area. What you're looking at is Coldwell Banker's data dashboard, which is very visual in nature, so it's easy to absorb the information. The information comes from the MLS, so it's data that gets pushed into the Coldwell Banker dashboard. And what I wanted to point out is the average and median sales price in Sarasota County for single family homes. So that's what I have selected right now. And that's really this line here. And so what you see is that over time, there's been a gradual increase in the median sales price, right? And this is March of 2022. It's now at $463,000, where last year, March, it was $364,000. And so there is really no dip. I mean, there's a slight dip here. These fluctuations are very normal, but in general, this line here keeps going up. So the prices are continuing to increase. This is another chart I wanted to point out to you. I find this very interesting. It's the sales price / list price ratio. And essentially, if it's over 100%, and it's been over 100%, what it means is that the homes are selling at above list price. So multiple offer situations are still very common, even for higher end real estate properties. Here's another chart I wanted to point out, average days on market, and that's also been declining. As of March of this year, the average day that a property set on the market before it closed was 20 days. Buyers are trying to make their offer as enticing as possible, and that means closing as fast as possible. In some cases, even waiving the inspection period, which is not one I would ever recommend you do. And so now there is no slowdown felt yet here in Sarasota County. You might say, well, interest rates are continuing to go up, and that's going to impact the housing market. Yes, interest rates are up, and some of you will now be priced out of the real estate market, and it is going to impact the real estate market also here in Florida. But you got to remember that we have so many cash offers here that even if you take the non-cash offers away, there's plenty of offers coming in, and there's other factors that will prevent a market crash in Florida in the foreseeable future. Got the supply and demand issue at large. There's just too much demand and just not enough supply. The number of cash transactions, we just spoke about that. The fact that remote work is becoming very normal now. People who are looking for no state income tax and warm weather have really just two choices, right? And that's Texas and Florida. And a lot of people will prefer Florida over Texas. So what I anticipate is a slower rate of growth this year as more people are getting priced out of the market. But the fact that we have so many cash offers coming in, multiple offer situations will continue, just not at the drastic rate it is going right now. There may be a slight correction on the horizon, but I do not believe it will have a crash. I actually believe that the real estate landscape in Florida has forever changed with the increase of remote work opportunities and a change in perception of Florida. People are realizing that Florida is a great place to live and not just for retirees. What should you do? This is very much of a personal decision, and you need to weigh the pros and cons carefully before making a real estate purchasing decision. Unfortunately, in today's market, even rental prices have skyrocketed, making the decision to purchase versus rent even more difficult. If you're a first-time home buyer, I suggest that you start off with a rent versus buy calculator, which can provide you with a directional understanding of when it will make sense to purchase versus rent. Now, there's some pitfalls when using the calculator, as it does not take into account market trends, investment opportunities, and your job situation, for example. So I suggest that you also speak to a financial advisor who can help you navigate this further. If you're someone planning to sell real estate in a more expensive market to move to Florida, Florida for more affordable living situation, the decision is far easier on you because you will save money and probably even make money on the net real estate transaction. This is a very tough real estate market, guys. I would say that many, if not most realtors, do not like this frenzy either for a lot of reasons. I would love to be able to tell you just hold on a few months, it will crash, but I just don't believe it will given the data we covered and the trends that we're seeing in Florida. If you have any advice to home buyers, just leave it in the comments section. Now, if you're looking for real estate in Sarasota County, I would love to partner up with you. You can contact me, call me anytime. And if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for spending time with me today. I always appreciate it when you do. Take care.